Hey, good morning, and welcome to the Comics Experience Graphic Novel of the Month Club for the month of February 2026. We're in the future. That's so crazy when I say numbers like that. We've got a fantastic book for you this month, and we're here live in the store with the studio audience. Love it, love it. And yeah, we've got a fantastic book and a fantastic person. We've got JUDD WINICK, and his book is HILO Presents The Mighty. This is the 12th HILO universe book.
Yeah. No, it's been 11 years, 12 books. Very excited about it. I was very excited. I mean, it's nice when you have a small independent publisher, Random House, who lets you do these things. Joke for the grown-ups. But yeah, no, it's funny. I'll do school visits and like, when did the first HILO book come out? It's like 2015, and they all start jazzing and bubbling because that was like the year they were born.
Right.
Which is like, no, I started this like a minute ago. Like, oh no, it's been 11 years, now 12 books. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, so this is like the third interview we've done. So you kind of know how these goes. I'm going to ask the same first question that I've asked you 3 other times, which is why comics? Of all the things that you could be doing, because comics are hard work. They're not like doing a book like this. It's like a year of your life, if not more. Probably as you're getting older, it gets a little longer every time. And, you're hunched over and drawing and, it's not easy on the body. And
true, I have no other usable skills. I don't. It's been a long time and, where do you even begin? Thank you for bringing up that it takes a little longer than people imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got buddies who do other stuff and they're pumping out even more books. Like, but there's a lot of labor involved in comics.
Yeah.
Not complaining. Yeah. I got the best job in the whole wide world. Yeah. I make things up and then I draw them. That's my job. I live like a 10-year-old. So no lie. It's the best. But it's been, goodness. So I probably walked into the store and met you like 30 years ago.
Something like that.
And I was still doing comics.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been all kinds of machinations where I wrote superhero comics for over a decade. Then I did an animated series for a bunch of years. I put an animation too. And it all kind of brought me back full circle. Again, like 11 years ago to do a graphic novel series, do comics again. Cause that's just really what I love to do and really kind of, and to get all artsy fartsy about it, really kind of who I am. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to be a cartoonist and that's what this is. It just really is. And it has come up several times, even early on, with my editor, Shana Corey, who's the best. When I first started doing the HILO series, she threw it out. If you ever wanted to do a prose book, a chapter book, we could talk about that. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, I have thought about it, and I've written scripts and things like that, things where I'm not putting pictures myself. But every time I think of a story, it'll be like, okay, we got a brother and sister, and they find out they're aliens. Okay. And then something happens at school, and that's like really cool and very weird. And they get home, and then a giant ship lands, this huge, by the time I get to the giant ship and the huge whatever, it's like, I just want to draw that.
Yeah.
I don't want to write it. I just want to draw that. And just, it's like, wouldn't that be easier if I draw it? Won't that be more fun than like describing it all them words?
It's funny to me because, when you were doing superhero comics, you basically stopped drawing for that 3-year, 5-year period, whatever it was. And I thought, oh no, we've lost a cartoonist because you were always a really good cartoonist.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no,
thank
you
you.
were.
You
were.
That. Thank you. I did miss it in a way that, this was kind of saved me in a lot of ways. I didn't realize how much I missed drawing until I started doing it again.
Yeah.
It was just that when I started writing superhero comics, I was still doing my independent comics. I was still doing the series Barry Ween, and that kind of drifted away from that. I was planning on doing more, but then I'm writing like 4 monthlies for DC, and then I drifted in doing animation. Animation kind of scratched the cartooning itch a bit. I'm working on storyboards. I'm helping design characters. Scratched it a bit. Then I stopped doing that shows. Juniper Lee for the Cartoon Network. Yeah. So Juniper Lee ended, and then there was like 5 years where I'm just writing. Like I was developing for like live action TV that went nowhere and writing superhero comics. And, I was unaware of how unhappy I was until I got back to it. And when I started just doing this, and we had talked about it before, I started doing HILO just on spec, just for me. I just wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
In small part because my son, who was 7 at the time, wanted to start reading my superhero comics. I told him no, because Batman is like it's for teenagers and grown-ups. You are 7, you can't do that.
Mhm.
I gave him Bone by Jeff Smith, which y'all should read, and he did, and he loved it.
Mhm.
And then Jeff sent us a whole bunch of merchandise too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, like stuff that was out of print,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
making
yeah.
any more action figures, posters, t-shirts.
Yeah.
And he was just crazy about Bone, and I got kind of jealous.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a combo platter of like, you know, let me start doing it. And when I started doing it, like, oh, you know, having enough age and we'll call it wisdom to realize like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm so much happier doing this.
Yeah.
And Pam, my wife Pam, would later say like, no, there was a distinct difference. Like, here's Judd minus, you know, 60% misplaced anger. You know, you're clearly a happier person when you're writing and drawing. And then, you know, this quiet miracle occurs, which is the book came out and did well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank goodness, I get to keep doing this.
Yeah.
It is.
Did you doubt it that it was going to do well?
Oh, yes and no. I mean, I have pretty wild imagination, as you might imagine.
Sure.
So I thought it was good. And, I'll put it another way. Pam was not worried at all. She's always said, she was right. Anything you actually love doing has always done great. You know, it's always done more than great. If it's a half-hearted effort in any way, like who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do well, sometimes not. But anything, it's like, you're fully invested in this. I felt really good about it because, it was the one time in my professional career I was ahead of the curve. So this is 2015. This is right before graphic novels for kids, like really like now.
Yeah. Now it's everything.
Everywhere, you know, like, you know, there's a section in like bookstores now. And this was just before that. So one time I got in just before that. I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
I'd always been, you know, taken up the rear. I felt pretty good about it. And again, I had a small independent publisher named Random House who had a little bit of belief in me. I was also like, well, they're a pretty big deal. So let's, you know, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I felt good about it.
Very good.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people just walked in.
Yes.
Hello, a whole lot of people. Hey, you know what? Could maybe some of the adults give up seats for kids if you guys wouldn't mind? I'm sorry. But yeah, kids take the preference for seating. Thank you. We very much appreciate that.
As you know, as parents, you take the hits sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you're buying, you know, Oak Tag at like 6:00 at night because they forgot to do the posters.
Yep.
You know, been there too. Not a single left. They're not happy they're standing. Okay.
Very good. Okay. There are a couple of seats for the parents. Just be aware if the kids come in, if you can. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sit down, yes.
Did you drew as a kid?
Yeah.
Did you know you wanted to be a cartoonist young?
It's funny you should talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, did I ever. I was always the kid who could draw. I can't remember when I wasn't drawing. If you asked anybody I went to high school with, right now, it had no idea what I was up to right now. It's like, yeah, do you know Judd became a professional cartoonist? Like, well, of course. Duh. I mean, that's all I ever was. And when I was little, I just wanted to do a syndicated comic strip. That was the goal. Like, I fell in love with Garfield. Later, Bloom County, that's all I ever wanted to do. I owe almost all of it to my parents, who never ever told me when I was like 7, 8 years old, I want to be a cartoonist. They never said that's not a real job. They never said, you know, you should get something to fall back on. You know, none of that. It was always, we want to be a cartoonist, be a cartoonist, it's a real job. And they're so supportive. I always had supplies, and they also always read and looked at my stuff. If I drew a picture, I went up to them, I showed them, and they were always excited about it. And that's a huge thing that I didn't even realize at the time. I took it for granted until I was older and talking to other people who like had a lot of obstacles. Like their parents like had no interest in anything they were doing. Other cartoonists I've met. So that was huge. And I went to public school in New York, which again, in hindsight, I didn't realize what a big deal that was, but once a week, we would leave the classroom, go to another classroom, and have art.
Right.
Which was such a big deal. Again, totally took it for granted that from first grade all the way up through high school, I had access to art. And teachers who recognized I was pretty good.
Yeah.
And made sure that, you know, I had extra attention, supplies, extra, you know, projects or whatnot. So I got a lot of support. And so it's what I always wanted to do. And you know, luckily, I'm knocking wood still. It's worked out with highs and lows.
Yeah.
I've always pretty much been able to make up things, and that's been my job.
Yeah. No, that is really amazing. It is, yeah. And that you knew it that early on, that's what you wanted to do, and were able to make it happen.
Yeah. Know? And with, you know, I mean, a bit of talent.
No, absolutely.
What I'm saying is like I was bred to have an enormous ego.
Yeah.
My parents, like, if anything, that's the one mistake they made is that when I finally did fall on my face, I was not quite ready for this.
Right.
I was not quite ready for failure, which the big one didn't really happen until after college.
Yeah.
I did a comic strip all through college for my college newspaper, Michigan Daily. So about 3.5 years, daily comic strip, working my butt off. Loved it. Then I got a development deal right out of college.
Yeah.
No, excuse me, senior year of college. I got a development deal to do a comic strip with Universal Press Syndicate, which is the equivalent of getting your book published by Random House.
Yeah.
They're the biggest syndicate, and head this big.
Mm-hmm.
It was a development deal. So it'd be 1 year of working on my comic strip with them, and then they would pursue syndication and put it in newspapers. And 9 months into it, they dropped me.
Yeah.
And it would have been easier if they just killed me and buried me in a hole. That would have been more kind. I was not prepared to get my head kicked in.
Yeah.
But, you know, that led to other things.
Yeah. I mean, the syndication business is crazy hard.
Yeah.
I mean, the people who make it do fantastic.
Yeah.
Become some of the richest cartoonists ever.
Right.
But yeah, almost nobody makes it through that gauntlet. And
it's different now.
Yeah.
With newspapers not being what they were.
They are, yeah.
I mean, thousands of newspapers disappeared in the 90s. Right when I did get a syndicated comic strip. That's one who took a hit. But I worked through it and I'm fine.
Nuts. So you did HILO on spec originally, and you were doing it for Toby, essentially, your son.
Yeah.
What elements were you thinking about when you were doing it? Were you just sort of making it up as you were going along, or did you have a plan that, I mean, certainly you didn't think you were going to have 12 books.
No.
Right.
Well, I thought I thought about what he would like and also what I would like.
Yeah.
Like what I like doing. You know, I kind of just started putting HILO together with the idea of like the vibe of a Pixar movie. Like, I want to do something that kids will enjoy and grown-ups will enjoy too. Yeah. A real all ages affair. Yeah. And then also, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
What's the story I really want to tell? I mean, I had one, which is a start and stop, where I started doing it and then kind of petered out because I thought that's what would sell or people would like. And when I was doing it, it's like, this is not quite it. Like, let me just do a superhero story and, you know, borrow from everything that I love.
Yeah.
You know, everything from a bit of Superman, you know, a little bit of Spider-Man in there, a whole lot of Star Wars, a whole lot of Doctor Who. Yeah. Doctor Who is very, very important, actually. And you'll appreciate this probably more than most. I had spent over a decade writing superhero comics in the era of when superhero comics got grim and dark and serious. I was one of the architects of dark and serious. I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And kids couldn't read comics anymore.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, why don't I do a story that's like, not just happy, bubbly. I actually just wanted a protagonist who's having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what HILO was. Like, he was very excited about everything.
Yeah.
Instead of like I'm saddled with this.
Yeah.
I got to do all this and rise to the occasion. No, this is great. We're having a good time. Isn't it wild? That thing might kill us. I know it's dangerous, but I love it. It was just going to be fun.
Yeah.
And once I sort of caught the spark of that idea, like, oh no, it's not that it's all going to be like, you know, he'll be in danger. They'll be in danger. There'll be stakes.
Yeah.
But what's the harm in like him, like sort of enjoying the ride?
Exactly.
Like someone like, I like being a superhero.
Yeah.
And at the time, there wasn't a lot of like, I liked being a superhero.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came from. And also, I knew my son would love it just being about kids.
Yeah.
You know, I always love that. I'd say it's the Spielberg school of storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having children as your protagonists.
Yeah.
Very few parent action going on.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing it sort of on the sly.
Yeah.
And, again, it was a little bit of like not even thinking about it and just doing it felt natural. And also, what would I like to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I always like worlds where the parents are essentially wah, you know, because that's what a child's universe. You know, they're the parents, they're important, but you know, you've got your own thing going on, your own kid adventures, your kid stories.
And they make it a drag. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like you take your parents in there, suddenly like, you are not going to do that. That is dangerous. And your story's over.
Yeah.
You know, you want your kids to, you know, mind you, it's better children. If you have superpowers, then go on and go on your adventures. Until then, take it easy. Just take it easy. You know, listen to your parents mostly. But storytelling wise, yes, parents can get in the way.
Yeah.
So I liked that a lot. And that's also why I said it in the suburbs originally, because the idea of like when we were kids, you know, you run out the back door and, and you go and you come back home when it gets dark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, except I was in Brooklyn and in Brooklyn, I mean, my parents threw me out of the house.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Go outside.
Go and wander the streets, right? Like, you know, I mean, it was different then because adults would pay attention to kids in a way that they kind of don't now. It's a little odd to me.
Yeah.
I always felt safe though, wandering the streets of Brooklyn. I don't know.
And don't know why.
Yeah.
But here we are. We were okay. And like no altercations and whatnot. It was just one of those things.
Yeah. But then when we had our own kids, like, I can't speak for you necessarily, but I know with Ben, we were very much helicopter parents of, oh, this is a dangerous world and we've got to take care of the kids. And, you know,
And we were half right.
Yeah. Half right. Yeah.
You know, a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, that's why it should be fun in the adventure stories.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why the unreality of it is that I don't think about the kids too much. I mean, when they're in danger because a giant robot's going to destroy them, not the danger of like, you know, regular people.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Or ice raids.
Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. How about the name HILO? Why did you come up with that name?
HILO was a delightful, happy accident. I was working on the story. I wanted to have an original name. I didn't want it to be like, you know, like Greg ! You know, I wanted like, you know, it's going to be, you know, something fun. And, I could not think of anything for a while. And I started writing the story and leaving it blank. You know, what his name was. And then I was writing this scene with DJ, who's HILO's best bud, and HILO, who had not been named yet. And, DJ is, I forget exactly the machinations that came before and after, but DJ is getting very, very grand. And he's talking to him about like, when you came to Earth, it was amazing. You fell out of the sky. And then he gets kind of poetic. He said, you started way up on high and then you were brought down low. And that like stuck in my head. Yeah. And I didn't like the scene because again, I thought it was too poetic. I'm like driving in my car. I was like, that doesn't work. All this business. Like it just doesn't sound right coming out of his mouth. High and low, high and low. Whoa, what did it say? High and low. Oh, I like the poetry. What if I put HILO? Oh, it's a word. It's a word. I can put it together. It just actually happened like that. And I just plugged it in and started writing and calling him HILO. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I didn't know, humble brag. We did a authored video when the book first came out, a director, some dude. And, you know, and then he actually asked me, he's like, is it pronounced HILO or HILO? I said, well, no, HILO. It's like, oh, so it's not HILO, like the city in Hawaii. There's a city in Hawaii named HILO. It's like and by the way, like the book's coming out. I never bothered to Google it. My editor, no one at Random House. Like, it's like, you know, there's a whole city named HILO. Like, this is going to be a problem. And it has been for 11 years. People are like, HILO or HILO? Like, no, high and low. That's how it happened. Like, it's a wonderful, happy accident.
Yeah. Very good. You know what? How about you guys? Who's got a question for Judd? I know at least one of you does, right? Please.
Go ahead, pal.
Go ahead.
What do you got?
Wondering in all of your comments with HILO and the Mighty, you do like really unique facial expressions that I really like.
Oh goodness.
Facial expressions.
Way back when, I forget. I saw a documentary or a film or something about Disney animators, and might have been it. No, you know what? It was true. I mean, they kind of staged it for the documentary, but they'd had the animators there at their, you know, their animation tables, and they're looking in the mirrors and they're making faces and then drawing like. And I thought that was wild. And as a kid, I got into the habit of doing that. Looking at the first one, I was young, looking in the mirror to see if I could do that. And then later, it was never looking in the mirror. It was just like feeling it. Like, you know, I will make the expression that I'm drawing. When my earliest passion was monsters, King Kong, Godzilla, you know, werewolves, things like that. And I remember in second grade, I'm drawing like Godzilla or something. And Lauren Wertlieb, a friend of mine, sitting next to me and leans over and says, "You're growling." It's like, what? It's like, you're growling. It's like, no, I'm not. And then I keep drawing like, oh, I am. Like I'm drawing the characters. I'm growling. So I tend to get into it. And I like big facial expressions. I'm not going to knock other cartoons. But I'll knock superhero comics a little bit. Like a lot of superhero comics, when you look at a lot of facial expressions, they kind of go from like A to B.
Yeah.
The really good ones, like really get in, and we actually say it, like they have great acting.
Right.
That artist has really, really good acting.
Yeah.
So I always wanted that, it comes from doing an animation background of the art.
Yeah. Did you, I always felt like you had a lot of kind of Don Martin in your, and he was an artist who did Mad Magazine, and his characters are Sploggles's book and things like that, They
all look exactly the same, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Like a woman, a baby, 100-year-old man, they all are drawn almost uniformly exactly the same, but they all have wild expressions,
crazy faces,
little sweat bubbles coming off, which I do like. I do that too. If you look at like anything going on HILO, any big expression, there's like little bits of dirt and little specks coming off of them. I've always done that. That comes from Don Martin, comes from Brooke Breathitt.
Yeah.
And Don Martin always do these things with their hands, like this little thing where they do with their fingers. Like very expressive with hands, like a lot of that. I grew up on Mad Magazine. I don't talk about it enough. That how Mad Magazine was just so a mainstay. My dad, who read comics as a kid, bought me Mad in the very beginning. And I didn't realize until talking about like that we all read Mad Magazine. And how good the cartoons were. The art was amazing. So it's right there.
I mean, I think that, like growing up and reading syndicated strips is great, right? But they're daily and they're 4 panels long, and that's it. It's just 4 panels. And the first panel is always a recap. Well, not always, but often a recap,
But they weren't big.
Yeah, right.
They didn't have big expressions.
They couldn't do it,
It wasn't until Bill Watterson, he kind of like kicked the door open. It's like, you actually can work this small, actually do big expressions and have a lot going on. It eventually wasn't enough for him. Like, I need more room on Sundays to do bigger stuff. But you're right. They're all pretty, with the exception of like a little bit, like Garfield would get kind of big. Sparky Charles would get kind of big, but no, you got to go to comics. And in particular, like, Mad was, it's a
huge,
magazine and big stuff. It's great. It's great.
Very good. Did that answer your question sufficiently?
You asked me a simple question and then I talked for 15 minutes. Sorry about that, but it's a good question.
Do you have a question? Oh, yeah. I thought you raised your hand there. How about in the back? Yeah.
How did you come up with creative sound effects?
Well, how do I come up with sound effects? Yeah, I have a lot of fun with sound effects, like a lot of fun. And I'm literally just looking at it and what it's, what does that kind of sound like and also be a little bit of fun. Like in the Mighty, Miranda's, like at one point her hands get really big, or a couple of things, like her feet get big. And I think the sound effect I came up with was wonk, which is like, HWONK, which like, that's one. That would be funny if I could actually hear that sound, and I just make them up. I got into a little bit of trouble. Humble brag. So HILO's translated into a bunch of different languages. So now and again, these sound effects are actual words. And a couple of times, okay, I'm gonna, there's a full admission. I've never talked about this publicly. So there was a Urban Dictionary, which if you look it up online is just that. And it's crowdsourced, meaning that no one runs Urban Dictionary. People put in there like urban expressions and whatnot. So a couple of times folks in copy editing would say like that actual sound effect is a nasty word for whatever.
Right.
And then I'd look it up and like, no, it's not. Someone just said that. Like 3 people said like, that's a thing that, that honk is a,
something dirty.
It's a horrible thing to call a Norwegian person over the age of 70, whatever, there, I picked something good and safe. That's like, who makes a snowman? So for a little while I would go and then check a lot of my more unusual sound effects to see if they were in Urban Dictionary. If they weren't, I would put my own definition in there, like wonk, is a Norwegian expression for kicking a pigeon. And, so when they would look it up, they go like, oh, that's fine, I guess. I mean, who cares? It's Norway and pigeons. That's fine. It's fine. So I kind of got ahead of them on that. And now if any of the copy editors are watching, now you know.
Yeah. And all of your, we call them onomatopoeia. That's what those special effects sounds are. They're called onomatopoeia. All your onomatopoeia are literally drawn on your page, right?
Yeah.
They're not a separate layer like the lettering is.
No, I draw them myself. Yeah.
So when your book gets translated, all that stuff stays exactly the way that it was.
The ones that are, unless it's a problem.
Okay.
Unless in the language, actually, it's close to something terrible.
Uh-huh.
And then someone there, for a while they would check with me just like, but they're very, very good at it. Like
Yeah.
an art director will come in there and make the change. And then something with it, like, they change it completely. Something like Olak or whatever, like, weird, like foreign language stuff gets in there. And it's actually a lot of fun. And it's like, well, look at that. Because they got to draw it. They got to draw a whole new sound effect.
Yeah. And they've got to do it in your style.
They do. They
Yeah.
got to ape it a little bit.
Yeah.
And for that, it's fun. It comes back, like, look at that. Like, what they did. Wonder what. And then, like, what does that sound like? I don't even know. I assume it also means, yeah. Like, okay, yeah, I don't know if that sounds, I mean, frankly, it's weird. I mean, this weird stuff when you do that, like I don't think like cats meow in other countries. It's in a number of countries are different. It's different.
Yeah.
So they got to work it through.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a very weird tangent, but yeah, it's fun for us.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Do you sit and kind of just do it out loud at home until you find the right kind of combination of sounds?
I don't want to pretend I think about it too much. It's like, it's fast.
Okay.
No, that's not one. I do that one a lot. Okay. I do that one for an explosion. Like sometimes you just want to go with a kaboom because you don't want to distract.
Sure.
You don't want people to like, why shaboom? What's going on? It's like, well, something's burning and then it blows up. Like, I don't want to take someone out of the scene and they have to read it. But I will say it's a good question because, after a while, I realized that young people pay a lot of attention to the onomatopoeia and the sound effects. So like it gets in my head a little bit.
Yeah.
So I go through it fast, sometimes too fast.
Did that was a good answer? Did you like all right. Do you have a thought? No spoils about the good book? Yeah.
That her hands get big? That's okay. It's like, that's nothing. There's bigger spoilers than that. Trust me.
You had a question. Yeah.
So you pumped out like over 10 books. How do you get inspiration for that? Because that's a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that you note that I come up with a book a year. For a little while, my editor and my publisher was hoping that I could do more, and I probably said like I can do about a book a year. And it wasn't until graphic novels became more popular and other cartoonists started coming in and said like, yeah, can you handle a book a year? And I'd hear from friends who were like working with Random House, it's like, yeah, they're saying like, can you do a book a year? And I'm like, no. It's like Judd WINICK does a book a year, and I'm like, good for Judd with his book a year. It's like usually takes me about 2 years. How can you do a book a year? For starters, I learned how to draw, but I wanted to do comic strips. And then I did a comic strip in college, and I did one professionally for a while. You draw fast. So that's one thing I got really good at. I can draw really fast. And my books are very, very cartoony. They look like a comic strip. And then I also spent over a decade writing superhero comics, which you've got to work fast. I even name drop. So Ed Brubaker and I would talk about this all the time. He was working in television, and now and again they'd trip up on something like, we got to rewrite this whole script. And then Ed would say like, well, what if we take this character and they do this? And then they go here. And then the third act, we have them do that. Like, did you just come up with that? It's like, yeah. It's like, how? Comic books.
Yeah.
Because sometimes an editor will come to you like, yeah, you can't use Nightwing. It's like, sorry? It's like, it's a Batman book. It's like, yeah, I know you can't use Nightwing for like the next 3 months. Like, why? Well, he broke his leg and he's going to be in outer space. Like, can I please use him? Like, no, Martian Manhunter is available. I don't want to use Martian Manhunter. Like, I need Robin. I need Dick Grayson. Like, and so you got to think of something fast. So writing quickly, drawing quickly was always something that I could do. As far as inspiration, the number one piece of advice I give to both students and grown-ups about coming up with stories is you should steal ideas. And what I mean is that it's okay to take a story that you know and love and keep those building blocks and, but change it and make it your own. Like, like the story of a farm girl who works on a farm. She lives with her aunt and uncle. Her parents have passed away. And then 2 spies show up, but they're farm hands, but they're actually spies. And they're telling her, we heard there's a sorceress in the area named the Great Yaga. Can we come meet her? And they go meet her. And then the Great Yaga, I said, yeah, I used to be the Great Yaga, but now I'm just Linda. Say, but I got to tell you something important. Your mom used to be a great sorceress, and you let me. I could teach you to become a great sorceress. Like, okay, it's a cool story about farm girl. That's Star Wars. I just gave you Star Wars. That's just, it's Luke, his aunt and uncle, Ben Kenobi. It's like, and it's a whole thing. I just turned it into a farm girl story. So you could do that too. Steal ideas, but you got to make them your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense.
It's also Harry Potter. Same story.
Yeah. You've got like 2,500 pages of HILO when I think about it. That's a lot of pages, man.
Yeah, but 10 years of doing superhero comics.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just doing one story now.
Right, yeah.
And no one's going to tell me I can't use Nightwing. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to say, well, Gina can't do that. Like, yes, she can. Gina can do whatever she wants. She's going to get magic and she can get 3 books to herself. So there.
Did that change? I mean, it wasn't even a change really, but the move to making Gina more of the protagonist, was that because you were starting to run out of ideas for HILO himself? And
no, it's a happy accident in the way that, okay, for those playing at home. So HILO's got 2 buddies, Gina and DJ. And when I was first doing the series, the series first came out. No, not that. Before it came out, I was talking to my editor, Shayna Corey. Brought up Shayna a couple of times. And like, so it's an ongoing mystery. And Shayna wanted to know. So like, we're doing this series. That's great. How many books in the series do you think it's going to be? More to the point that the central mystery is like, who is HILO? He has amnesia.
Yeah.
So when's he going to get his memories back? How long will that take? And I thought, I've done superhero comics for a while. It's like, well, I kind of want to break it up in about like 20 parts, like 20 books. She goes, okay, that's a healthy number. I just one suggestion on that. That's what Shannon's saying. Like, she's so polite about it. It's like, now, if a 10-year-old's reading the first HILO book, it takes you about a book a year. So that means by the time you get to the 20th book, oh yeah, they'll be 30 is what I said. They'll be 30 years old by the time I finish the story. Yeah, that's too many books. If you want to, like, no, I hear what you're saying. Let me cut. And that's why I broke it down. It's like, I'm going to finish up this big story of HILO in 6 books.
Yeah.
We'll know who he is. He'll get his memory back. It'll be all wrapped up. And I could figure it out from there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the first book came out and it did quite well. And then Shayna said, like, yeah, if you want to go beyond 6, you could. It's like, no, but the story ends with book 6. I'm done. And she actually said, like, they don't all die at the end, do they? It's like, no. It's like, okay, then I'm sure since everyone's alive, you'll think of something. And it's like, okay. And that was like around book 2. So somewhere around book 3, I just had this idea that'd be fun if Gina could do magic.
Yeah.
And like, it'd be fun. So spoiler, Gina can do magic in book 3. And that's sort of when I started toying the idea. It's like, oh, when I finish with 6, maybe we'll just pivot for a while and make Gina the protagonist and HILO and DJ back around.
Yeah.
And for, superhero comic folks, I was like, it's a team book. By the time I'm there, it's like, they're the X-Men. So, okay, so we're going to do, so now we're going to do a couple of issues where Nightcrawler is going to be the one that's like in the middle of it, not just a team and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the most natural thing in the world. Again, for folks who read superhero comics or make superhero comics, just pivoting to another character for a little while, despite the fact it's called HILO.
Yeah.
By then it's like, well, HILO's the series, as well as the character.
Yeah.
So that it seemed like the most natural progression.
I love the fact that you figured all that out kind of 6 years before you even started drawing it. Though.
Yeah. No, I just like, I'm going to eventually, well, that's kicking the can down the road. It's a lot easier. Like, I'll think of something by then. It's many years from now. I'm sure I'll have an inkling of what I'm doing 6 years from now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, and the characters tell you what they're going to do too, right?
It's true.
I would say, particularly with a character like Gina, is probably in your head going, no, this is what we're doing, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very artsy-fartsy when you hear people say like, well, the characters kind of help you get through the story. They're the ones who tell the story. You're just kind of like, it kind of becomes true after a little while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth in that. Like, no, Gina wouldn't do that. Like, I need to figure out, like, well, how's she feeling right now? You really do have these really kind of, quasi-serious conversations with yourself about, like, I've made this character, and what would they do? That's okay. And they're like, oh no, you know what? Like, she's still a bit sad about what happened in the last couple of books. And that'll be sort of like how we move through it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's helpful in that way. And again, it's like, it's the lesson of Charles Schulz and Peanuts. All the characters are so well defined. Something that Lucy says is not something that Linus is going to say. Something that Charlie Brown is going to say is definitely not going to come out of Sally. They're all really, really well defined. Yeah. And, with some gray area because we're doing bigger stories, but still, you lock in. Like, this is who they are. That's a DJ thing. It's a Gina thing. It's a HILO thing.
Yeah.
And the longer you do it, the more you figure it out.
Yeah. And then what about the Mighty?
Yeah. The Mighty came out of just wanting to wander away from base camp for a while. Yeah. Again, superhero comics. I've been telling this story for HILO for a while and not burnt out, but, at all. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just that the story began in a very simple place. And the longer you do it, the more expansive it gets, the bigger it gets. Like, now the kids are going to outer space and different worlds and all that. And I love that. And we're going to keep expanding. But with that, it's sort of like screaming out to me like, well, you know, don't you have other superheroes in the universe you want to talk about?
Mhm.
And also just a different point of view.
Yeah.
And that's why I started toying around like, well, what is the opposite of what I'm doing with HILO? And again, it's like, you know, positive protagonist who shows up, he's got superpowers from outer space. And like, what's the opposite of that? It's like kind of a Spider-Man story, something that's more grounded, you know, a kid who doesn't want her powers, who doesn't want to be a hero, which is a trope. It's an old trope. It's like, well, let me do it in my way. Let me just do it in my way. And borrowing a lot of like, you know, a little bit of Hulk, a little bit of Spider-Man, you know, and, you know, mixed in my way. Like, we're going to have fun, by the way. It's going to be fun. Like in no time at all, she's going to enjoy turning into a giant 10-foot monster and fight crime. And it feels different, you know, also because it's in a city. You know, where we are, you know, I've been drawing kids in the suburbs and in outer space for a while. It's like, what about, and I don't like drawing buildings. So it can be a challenge as well.
That's cool. Are you, like, is your thinking that you're going to be doing a series of different characters each time? Or are you going to follow up on the Mighty? Or how are you, like, how do you envision this going?
Yes to all of that.
Yes to all of that.
So more Mighty stories for sure, because I love it and we set things up and I like the world that it is. I'm right now working on a whole new series, also in the world of HILO. And a lot of this is about just expanding the world a little bit and having a little bit of fun. That, you know, it's been like sort of insular with our little characters, which began as like 3. Now we've got 5 with Polly and Pip. But, you know, we're sitting here in a comic book store. You know how it is, man. We want to do like the stories of like all the superheroes and stuff like that. So was funny. Last year I was on book tour. I go to schools, I do assemblies, and I introduced the Mighty. I showed the cover of it and described it. I said it's in the world of HILO, and immediately students raise their hands like, "So are the Mighty and HILO? Are they going to meet?" And it's like, "How do you guys know about crossovers?" "Oh, right, the Marvel movies, right." Right, you guys saw this coming right away. I thought it was gonna be a big surprise. Like the Mighty shows up in a HILO book. It's like, oh no, they're expecting it already. You know, because when we grew up reading superhero comics, the greatest thing in the whole world was suddenly like, oh my goodness, the Avengers are showing up with the X-Men. You know, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers are going to fight Galactus. Like, just like, you know, it's, you know, you just couldn't even contain yourself. You know, it was a big deal and they're drawing all the characters. And then it's like, oh, right. You know, the Avengers movie came out, like, how many years ago at this point? Which, so kids saw it coming, but I'm absolutely doing that.
I even remember as a youngin' just being excited when in a Spider-Man comic, suddenly you would see Daredevil swinging in the background.
Just in the background.
Right? Just in the background. Like, they're not even teaming up. No. Just like, but they're in the same city.
Yeah, they are.
There they are. That's cool.
You guys are spoiled.
You really are spoiled. You have no idea how spoiled you all are. Yeah. Wild. That was a long answer. Did that answer your question sufficiently?
Did I even touch upon it? I don't even know.
But of course.
Inspiration, you steal things. What did you steal to make HILO?
Oh, goodness. Well, here's the thing. When, you know, a professional, you know how to steal bits and pieces here and there. And no one would notice until you actually point it out. So I'll point a few things out. There's a lot of Doctor Who. Doctor Who's a positive protagonist, you know, for the most part. Doctor Who's excited about everything. And he has human companions. That's what I did. Except, you know, he's got superpowers and he doesn't remember who he is and he flies around, you know, so it's very, very familiar in that way. There's Star Wars all over the place. Like, I was terrible in Star Trek. I'm terrible at science. I do faux science, most of it coming from Star Trek primarily, a little bit of Star Wars. Superman's in there. And E.T. and Iron Giant, bunch of Iron Giant in there. The idea of a robot having a soul and things like that. So not entirely a ripoff, but the elements are there and the things, you know, they get inspired by, you know. I mean, for Iron Giant, the idea of, I even like kind of extrapolated on the idea a little bit. If you haven't seen Iron Giant, you should all see that. You should see it tonight. We should leave here all and go watch it together. It's the greatest movie ever. And, part of it is a robot who, you know, as Hogarth, the boy who finds him, says that you think about things, you care about things, so you must have a soul. You know, so he went beyond from what he was made to do and became this other being, you know, where he cares and loves. And I liked that idea for HILO, that HILO was made to do a certain thing and then kind of grew out of that and became, you know, more sentient and cares and loves people. And by the second book, which wasn't part of my intention, that by the second book, HILO actually doesn't want to beat up on robots anymore. the first book, he blows up a whole bunch of robots. And then I thought about that, like, oh, I don't think he would do that. I think he would like, no, they could be like me. So I'm not going to destroy them. I might, knock them out. And with that, then he also became a vegetarian, same thing, which also became funny.
Yeah.
The vegetarian bit kind of became funny, which was also helpful. So yeah, you can call it stealing, you can call it inspired, or being inspired by. Some of the biggest stories you could possibly think of, the storytellers are the exact same thing. Like George Lucas swiped wholesale from, Kurosawa and as well as Dune, like a lot from Dune, more than people realize from Dune. You go through and like Sand Planet, weird sort of vibey sort of power going on, like a force, things like that. So yeah, but when I was a kid, I wanted to do a story, and I was calling it Super Chimp, which was I'm just ripping off Superman. And when I walked over to show my dad, he basically said, like, you got to get a little further away from Superman. This is pretty much just Superman, except he's a monkey, and he then explained to me what parody was. And then I started mixing it up like this, and came back, and they're like, Krypton be called Chimpton. It's like, Chimpton? And you're like, now you're getting somewhere. And said, and instead of Kryptonite, which I had him like, his weakness was Kryptonite. It's like, no, very unripe bananas, which are green. And like a dad, like, okay, now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And again, my parents, huge part of me becoming a storyteller.
Yeah. And one of the things they'll teach, like if you go to college and take writing classes and things like that, your teachers will tell you, like, there's really only, 10 stories, 8 stories, whatever the number is. There's only a couple of stories, that you just change the protagonist and you change some of the details so that they become new stories.
Yeah. I mean, it's that idea of like, I want to come up with that, the quote unquote $1 million idea. It's like, don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to come up with is a great character.
Yeah.
Fun characters that you like and you got to like get involved in. It doesn't matter what they do. It's like, this character shows up, got some friends, a bad thing happens. Oh no, we got to overcome the bad thing. And then in the end, they beat them. Somewhere in the middle, they all get into a fight and they don't get along. They got to come back together. Like, these are all just tropes. That doesn't really matter. The story doesn't matter as much as how you tell it and the characters you're telling.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go through a lot of stories like, well, I kind of saw that ending. Like, I know you saw the ending coming, but did you like getting there? That's the important part.
Yeah. And it's the thing that you said earlier that Pam said to you is that when you enjoy it, it's clear the tenor of work changes. If you're having passion and energy and thrilling for it, you communicate that in line in the way that it comes across on the page, you know?
Yeah.
If someone gave you an assignment to start doing like a comic about, 12th century philosophers, I'm sure you could do it. You might not have a lot of fun doing it though, right? And
I can even get more specific. A couple of years ago, someone offered, came back to do like a superhero book, like a big one that I grew up reading, that I loved, that I had never opportunity to do. And I actually had to say, I couldn't do it because I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't have anything. I didn't have that fire in the belly to do it. It's just exactly what you said. Like, they have to come and say, like, do you want to write this book? Oh, do I ever? Mm-hmm. I've had this idea my whole life. And that's mostly what superhero comics is. It's just fan fiction.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like, all us grown-ups have fun. We read up, all the Batman comics that I wrote were ones that I just wanted to do since I was a kid or, in college or whatnot. Now I get to do it. And they pay you to do it. It's wild, but you got to be excited about it.
Yeah. You got a one more follow up, or are you?
Not really.
Okay. Cool. Just try to help out, pal. Just try to help out. All right. Who else? Anyone else got a question for Judd? Yeah, please.
Will I make a movie and a video game
at the same time?
At the very same time. I hope so. We should all be so lucky. I will say that the collective, we are actively working we were thinking about doing a TV show for a while. Now we're thinking about doing a movie. So there's an animation company I'm working with in Canada called Sinking Ship, and they are great. And we are talking to some people about doing a HILO movie. These things take a long time, and it's a very boring businessy conversation. But I will say that Sinking Ship has done some, I wish I could show you some phenomenal, just initial test animation of HILO and the gang and doing it. And, it looks so great. It excites me so much. I mean, one of the fun things about getting to collaborate with people and do that. It's like seeing what they do with what you came up with. And it is really magical when they show me like, hey, we did this. And it's just, they did a scene where like HILO like falls down from the sky, jumps over a clubhouse, fires lasers out of his hands, yells. They did this whole onomatopoeia thing. And it's like, I wish I could show you. And it's like, oh my God, like, I can't breathe. It's like, oh, so cool. So big fat maybe. We're working on it. Stay tuned.
Nice.
It is nuts.
That is nice. Let's maybe just talk for a couple minutes about the actual making of comics, the craft part of it. Do you draw on pen and paper?
I don't.
You don't. Okay.
I'm saying that sheepishly. You can see the pain that comes across as I'm talking about it, because I wish I still did.
Yeah.
No. So I'll also start with what I do it on. So I draw on an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. I use this app called Comic Draw. I should mention I am not affiliated with Comic Draw. This is not a commercial Comic Draw. They give me no money. I just use the app, and I like it. For kiddos, it's free. It's a free app. You do it on the iPad. It's great. And for me, I'm not very techie, and this became super easy because there's a lot of like presets. Like you can quickly make a panel just by clicking and dragging. You cut and paste your script into the app. You write out a character's name, then put a colon next to it, and then it makes a word balloon. You click and drag the colon from the script and just drop it into the panel.
Nice.
So easy. Mm-hmm. You pencil, and then you can lay down ink. I actually lay down ink in Procreate. All this to say is that I wish I was still working on paper, but it shaves about 4 months, maybe 5 months out of the work. Because on paper, I can make changes so quickly on computer. Whereas before I was working on 11 by 7, 11 by 17, old school cardstock paper, which draw in pencil, draw over in ink, erase the pencil, scan it in, do the lettering. So this is all like labor intensive opposed to like just on my iPad. Yeah. I miss paper. I miss literally being able to hold it in my hands. I used to, there's a story that Garrison Keillor used to told about his family. He used to have a little victory garden, a little tomato garden. And every fall they would harvest the tomatoes and put them in cans. They had their own little canner. This is going somewhere, believe me. And then they would put the cans like in a root cellar beneath the house. And he said that after we had all those cans of tomatoes, he knew late at night his mom would just go down to the root cellar and just run her hands over the cans out of pride. And I understood that because when I'm done drawing like on paper, at the end of the day, I used to go back down to my studio and just kind of look at what I did that day, just run my hands over the cans. Tomato canning is what I used to think about it as. You don't get to do that when you're on your iPad so much. It's like a less of a tactile experience.
Yeah. There are some people who do their penciling stage on the iPad and they print them out.
Yep.
And then they do the inking
on
the paper so that they still have that physical connection to the page.
Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah. I ink faster digitally now.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that wasn't trying to get you to change something.
I know, but you see the pain.
Yeah.
I like drawing on paper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny now and again. I will draw on paper and I'll do whatever I'm doing. And you're broken. You go there and you want to zoom in, literally putting my hand on a piece of paper and trying to expand on it. like, oh, I can't do that. It's actual paper. It's embarrassing. I'm there alone. I'm just embarrassed. I'm turning red. I'm trying to make the paper bigger. It's terrible.
I love that.
We're all broken.
I love that. When did you switch to digital?
Be around book 6.
Oh, okay.
I started doing my rough drafts. And what I would do, for my rough drafts initially were on 8.5 by 11, just copy paper. I would do it that way. Yeah. And the changes were made. I put Post-its on it, cut it out and whatnot. And they would go back to my editor and back and forth. And I said, this got to be a faster way. And then I started drawing my first drafts, my rough drafts, just digitally on the iPad. Yeah. And I could make changes. And then when I was done, then I would take that entire thing and redraw it. And then somewhere in there, it was like, well, what if I start toying with inking and finishing it on the iPad? Yeah. That's what sort of the eventual goes, somewhere between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
It became the thing.
Yeah. So do you still have most of your original art from the first 5 books?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have it all.
You have it all. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, at some point, my children will take care of that. I'm gonna let them hang on to it.
Yeah. That'll
because if we make a movie, it'll be worth something opposed to when I start like giving it away now. For sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's certainly artists and writers out there who that's how they keep their living going is by selling off their art.
They do. And then breaks your heart. It's like, how much do they sell that page for? $300,000.
Yep. at an auction.
At an auction.
10 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And someone had sold it originally for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Boring commerce stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, they should still give the artist a cut later when they sell.
They absolutely should. I endorse that theory a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. And so all the steps are digital, including the lettering. It's a font that's based on your handwriting?
No, not so much as I found it and I started kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Imaginary Friend, and I bought it, which was so close to my own handwriting, but a little bit better, a little bit cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been using Imaginary Friend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
My buddy Chris Eliopoulos said, like, I'll help you make one. Chris Eliopoulos, cartoonist and letterer extraordinaire.
Yeah.
He'd offered up many, many times.
Yeah.
But so I'm using Imaginary Friend because it worked just right.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. How much on the page are you spending figuring out like where balloons go, and like do you have room on the page for the action as well as the words, or because you've been cartooning for so long it's just natural to you and you don't actually think about it very hard?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, and you know, many books in that I will in some cases I just know in my head. It's funny. Matt Wagner often talks about like he practically composes just at the page.
Yeah.
He gets there and he's not even doing a thumbnail.
Yeah.
He'll just go there and do it. I know like dialogue heavy scenes, I will lay them out a certain way. Action scenes, I got to stop. I will thumbnail it out pretty elaborately and then try it out on the page and whatnot. And it's the ease of doing it digitally is you can mess with it and change it really easy. Some of it I'm just, it is like a little bit second nature. Just going there, knowing what this has to be. And then somebody just screw it up. You go there like, this isn't, only when it's down there. It's the advantage of like drawing stuff rather than actually working in film, which is like you shot a whole scene and like, oh no, I need to bring all the actors back because this isn't working. We need to reshoot it.
Right.
It's a little bit like that. I brought all the actors here and we filmed this scene and did it. Like, that's not working. I don't know what's wrong with it. Let me bust it out a little bit. And like, maybe they need to shut up. Maybe they need to do this. And it's only when it's down on the page you actually see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. And how much do you think about like the page turn?
Oh, I think about so for those who don't know, literally the page turn where like we're talking about like turning the page and then something big will happen. Yep. Sometimes I think about it that like, okay, if it's turning, it has to turn to an even number page for it to be like a full page turn, opposed to going from like, even to odd, if that makes sense. You're going from here to here. Like, so that's not a big reveal.
Yeah.
But when you flip the page, that's where the business is. You can really excite somebody. I think about it a lot. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, no, I gotta stall. I gotta pad up this page so I get that page turn. I want it to be a big reveal. We're like, look, big giant monster. Like, oh no, someone's betrayed us. Like, or usually like a good joke.
Yeah.
Something funny is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I do think about that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the essence of cartooning.
Yeah. It's what we do more than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's, there's no other medium that's worrying about like a page turn.
Yeah. How about the gutters? So to me, comics are all the gutters, right? Like it's not, the things that you draw on the panels are very important, but it's the space between the panels where the audience makes a connection.
Yeah.
Right. I always use the example of Charlie Brown in the football and, Lucy pulls it away. Mm-hmm. But if you actually look at the cartoon, you never see Lucy pull it away. Who pulls it away? The audience pulls it away.
Yeah.
That's the magic of comics. Mm-hmm. So do you find yourself, is that an easy skill for you to do? To give the audience room in time and space, or do you have to think about it?
I don't think about it at all.
Yeah,
I think I think a healthy diet. Grew up reading comic strips and comic books. Mm-hmm. You naturally, and then you start making the story. You know what it's supposed to do. You know how much information you're supposed to carry over. Now and again, and I'm throwing again with copy editing. Now and then, a copy editor might say like, "Oh, they're turned in an entirely different way." Yeah. It's like, all the characters seem to have turned around now. Yeah. Do you want to add a panel? Like, no, and you can't explain to them like, no, it's okay. That happened in between the panels.
Right.
Like, do you really need to see that? Yeah. Or even a cartoony joke of like, I do lots of cartoony jokes where a character will reach over and suddenly pull over and they've got a tuba. It's an old school cartoony joke. Like, where'd they get the tuba? Like, they just did. Yeah. It's a cheat.
From off panel. Yeah.
From off panel.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah.
now and again, I'll get a note like, okay, that was too much.
Yeah.
Like I made the audience have too big a leap between the panels, and you don't see it because it's in your head and your heart, and you're kind of just doing it. But a lot of it's second nature. It's an excellent question, Brian. Good at this.
Well, I think about these things a lot. And then I guess my last question is probably about color. Cause you've got a colorist here.
Yeah.
Was that easy for you to give up that part of it to let someone else do that? Or are you taking extensive notes, or are you just letting them do it?
Back when, I think, I'm not a colorist. I can color, but I'm slow and I'm not as good as I'd like to be. And I never developed the skill. So I was in black and white for a really, really long time doing comic strips and then my independent comics. When finally working with colorists, I think I would have liked to have done it on my own.
Yeah.
But handing it over to someone who's far more talented than me and could just bring it to life in like just huge ways. I quickly gave over to like, oh no. That's, let's keep doing that. Let me keep getting colorists. I do work with them very, very closely on a lot of things. And then other things, I'm not literally saying like this tree should be this kind of brown back. They do most of the heavy lifting on their own. They do most of the decisions on their own. Yeah. We decide the character is going to look like this. The main character should look this. There's a new character. If the new character is important to me, let's talk about the colors. Yeah. Or I warn them like, okay, this character is going to come back. So don't get crazy don't get too elaborate.
Right.
You're going to have to color this character a lot. So there is a lot of back and it's a collaboration. It's an honest to goodness collaboration. Yeah. And also beautiful things, which is like, okay, this is a very somber scene and I'm actually thinking of setting it at dusk and can you color it sad? And a colorist knows exactly what that is. Mm-hmm. Say, okay, no, we're going to take the lighting down a little bit, put a light source over there. And suddenly it's just so much more somber. And it wasn't there when I drew it. Yeah. It's a little bit like having, a soundtrack that lets colors provide the soundtrack and the color to it and a certain movement. And this grateful look I have in my face is just that, because they take it from, you're here and they take it just there.
Right.
It can really make it just, and the action sequences come to life.
Yeah.
And the special effects come to life, with an amazing colors. Marta Liejo has been the colorist on the last many books, including The Mighty. And she's a magician. She's just really, really good. And at this point knows exactly, she's a storyteller.
Yeah.
I mean, she also draws and paints as well. Yeah. So she gets it and she knows, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So your collaboration has gotten to the point where you absolutely can just trust her to just do it. Cause you know that,
with the back and forth of beautiful. Like, this scene or that scene, or like, somebody said, like, is this day or night? Like, oh God, I'm sorry, Marta. Yeah. Like this is, okay. I actually hadn't thought about it if it's day or night. Like, well, what do we want to say here? And like, she'll have a thought, like, well, we did this. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah. Very good. I'm going to go back to you guys just kind of for the last. Do you guys have any other questions about? Oh, please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
How do you get your designs? Like, how do you
design characters?
Characters, like where they are, what time is it, and the background.
Well, that's two different things. Well, you got character design, then you're talking about like laying out the book. The character design one, I will tell you this. When I first started doing HILO, I actually knew my plan was I'm going to draw it a lot. I'm going to do several books and a whole bunch of stories. So I did the thing that you, in animation books when they like the art of like Toy Story, we see like all the different versions of it, all the development work, a big Woody, a small Woody, a fat Woody looks really like a puppet, all this stuff. I actually did that with the HILO characters, which I rarely did before. Sometimes I just kind of find it along the way. I actually filled half of a sketchbook trying to figure out what I wanted them to look like, knowing that I was going to draw them over and over again. So I really had to love the characters and what felt natural. So I kept doing it until I found some designs I liked. And then I just kept drawing them. I kept drawing them for like, I did another, 20 some odd pages of them just doing stuff. So I felt comfortable. And even then, if it was kind of the Charles Schultz thing that happened. I've been doing it for 10 years. If you look at the HILO artwork in the first book and now in the 11th book, they're different, not vastly different. The design is the same, but I'm making different choices now. They're drawn a little bit, almost I think I'm getting a little bit too precious with it. I almost wish I had a little bit, some of the ease and, the messiness I was had in some of the earlier books, but I drew them over and over again. A lot of times when kids are drawing characters or whatnot, they draw it like they're tracing, like they get really, really careful about like, okay, now I got it. Now I got to do it again. Like that'll kill you. You got to draw it a bunch of times really, really fast and get used to it. And then you can draw them over and over again. And that becomes your character. And I love doing it. Like, it's designing characters is way more fun than I ever thought it would be. And challenging. Like I'm doing a whole new book and, it took a long time to get these characters just so, and like, and even sometimes like a boring thing, like I had a character and like, okay, she's going to wear a sweater. And I'm thinking, do I want her to wear a sweater? Like it's a lot of sweater. It's for the rest of her life. She's going to be wearing this sweater. And then suddenly I decided like, what if she has a little collared shirt under there? What if I make her neck a little bit longer? Like, like that's it. Okay. That's it. Perfect. And like, they like sound like, oh yes, she's wearing a sweater with the collared shirt and her neck's gonna be a little longer. Now I got it. Like it did something to her. And I drew it like 50 times. Like, yep, that's it. And her little brother's gonna be wearing like a jumper, like a one-piece jumper. And it also like fed the character. And like, I can't tell you how many different like outfits he wore. Like I was trying like, what's a 10-year-old boy wear? Like he had a hoodie, he had like long pants, he had short pants, giant sneakers, big. And finally, like the atypical thing of him like dressed like an auto mechanic with like a onesie. Like, oh, that's perfect. That's who he is. That's what he's always going to wear. Right. So an auto mechanic or a guy who plays bass in a punk band, that's, like suddenly these are the things that occur to you. So I can talk about character design forever, but the thing is you just got to keep drawing them. And sometimes the characters will let you know, like, no, I don't wear that. This is what I wear. This is who I am. And then they figure it out.
And what about the second part of that question, which was sort of the design of a page and the time and the place and the things like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. I don't care who you are. Drawing backgrounds can be a drag. It takes so much time sometimes. Like, where are we? Okay, we're in a city. Okay, we're in a town. I kind of always leave it blank back there, but no, there's supposed to be buildings. It's supposed to be walking down the streets. I got to draw that store and that store and that store and that store. And sometimes it's drag. Sometimes it gets to be a little fun. Like sometimes you do cameos of stores sometimes you make it up. There's a cartoonist I love, Bernard Kleben, used to be in the Bay Area, passed away a number of years ago. Very, very famous for the Cat book. If you look up Cat and B. Kleben, so he did that for a number of years. He would always draw, anytime he was drawing a street scene, there'd be a hardware store in back, and it would just be hard and the word W and then cut off in like tons of cartoons, just a hardware store, but just hard and then W. The rest of the word was cut off. I put those in a lot of HILOs, like a lot of hardware stores in the background. So things like that. It gets to be a drag, but sometimes you get into it like, oh, I'm just in the vibe of drawing trees right now and I'm having a good time. I found a good tree to draw. This is kind of neat, and you have a little fun. Drawing alien worlds are great because you can just cheat. Like, I can draw this tree any way you want. It can look like anything. Like, it looks like a stick with a bunch of pomegranates at the top. I don't care, and then you go to a next scene, like, I'm going to draw another fake tree. It doesn't have to look like a tree. Like, and then Marta's going to color it like pink and orange. It's going to be great. So making stuff up is a lot easier than having to stick to the real world.
I love that. Any last questions from y'all? Oh, right in front.
So I just wanted to, like, you have the robot to go, and then it's suddenly like a blast of light. And there's also like people who turn into different things. And so how do you choose like that kind of color? I mean, not the color, I mean like the shape of like turning into something.
Oh, wow. That's a sensational question. And I mean that because I don't have a great answer except, so when someone shoots something okay. So one thing that HILO does, right from the beginning is that when he he's going to blast energy out of his hands. I always did this energy ball around his hands. And for me, it was in my head, it was sort of like revving up the engine on a motorcycle, like this, vroom, and like energy kind of whips around his hand and becomes like a circle, which in my head was probably from any number of superhero comics. I don't even know where to begin. Like how many guys are like old school Kirby stuff, like big ball energy shooting out of there. So it just made sense to me. In my head, that's what it looks like. So a lot of times I'm drawing it and it's like, what does this kind of feel like? And like this robot, he's kind of thrown together. He's kind of clunky. He's like a big giant piece of junk. So when he shoots energy, it kind of it almost like explodes out of his hands like it's broken. And it's just kind of what it feels like. And And also, I want it to be fun to look at. I kind of want it to be fun to draw, but it's a character. Yes. Very astute. Exactly that. It does. I didn't thought about it that way, but yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's the personality of the character coming out. Sometimes they're very like prim and proper, or like they're really put together well. See the energy, or the thing they're doing is straight. Yeah, right. Opposed to like, I'm like, I'm a busted up, like, yeah, or sometimes we're kind of cute, so the energy's kind of cute. We kind of want the reader to know, like, this isn't that dangerous. This person, their magical powers or their superpowers, not that dangerous, and sometimes it's supposed to look a little silly. So yeah, a lot of it's about personality. Wildly astute. Thank you. That's a great question. First time there when I asked me that.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if like Solly is gonna get superpowers.
So we're talking about the Mighty, and Miranda Luna as the character turns into the 10-foot monster, the Mighty, and her best friend is Solly. So the question is Solly ever going to get superpowers? Right now, sitting here today talking to you about this, I'd say no. In the same way that, but my mind could change. I could think of something. It could be Gina all over again. A lot of readers ask, is DJ ever going to get superpowers? Like, it's Gina can do magic. So what about DJ? DJ's gonna get some stuff, right? And I don't think DJ's ever gonna get some stuff, because I think DJ's us. Like, he's the reader. He's me. He's our regular person. His strengths are just other things too. Like, I've begun talking about this in the books, that the stories actually revolve mostly around DJ. Things happen because of him. He found HILO. Gina's his best friend who came back. He doesn't have superpowers, but everything kind of revolves around him. So I almost feel like if he got a power, it kind of takes away from that. And that might be Solly too. Right now, Solly's the one who convinces her to be a superhero. Like, he's her wingman. He's the one telling her what. So will he get powers? I don't know. He did make her costume, which is a whole other thing. The people who make the costumes in superhero comics usually have some juice. So I'm still thinking about it. It's an excellent question.
It's funny too, because for 50 years, let's say, in superhero comics, the supporting cast of regular normal people were as important as the superhero characters.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't really until the television shows and things like that started where all of a sudden, I remember this happening particularly with Flash. The Flash, the first 2 seasons of Flash, it's all like normal people around him. And then they start giving them superpowers one at a time because I think they just ran out of ideas of what else to do. It's like, okay, well, let's start making everybody a superpower. Well, and then all of a sudden you look at the show and everybody's a superhero. There's no normal humans anywhere in the thing. And you're like, why is this not interesting to me anymore? Well, because I don't have the humans around to identify with as an audience member, And I really think that it's important to keep grounded and not escalate everything all the time.
Exactly. Like I always say, like, wander too far off base camp is the one I always use. Like, we start drifting, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you do a thing like everybody's a superhero. Well, then if everybody's got powers, then nobody's got powers. It's kind of like from the Incredibles. Then nobody is special. So, but we'll see. It's where the story takes me. But in a lot of cases, you just want to, you want us in there. You want us regular people to be friends with the superheroes. If I couldn't be a superhero in real life, which I'm not, I would really like to have a best friend who is, it's, again, Brian's right. You get too far away from it, it's a little less fun.
Yeah. And also, you want to be able to get in trouble and have them rescue you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the Z.
You want the regular person to come to the rescue. Exactly. It's way more fun.
It's much more fun. Yeah. All right. I'm the last call for questions. Oh, go ahead.
How would he be without? How far have you read in the series, my friend?
About all 11 books.
All 11 books. Okay. How is HILO without a villain? Well, at times he's not been the hero. He's been like sort of at the side. I will say this. Okay. Little bit, not spoiler so much as a tease. We'll call it a tease. So we're coming up to another big old HILO story. I just finished book 12. Marta's coloring it right now. And we will end in a very, very big cliffhanger, which kind of resets the clock. We will meet another big bad villain, who will fill in some of the blanks with HILO's story, which might be the final serialized HILO story. I'm always going to do HILO stories, but this might be the big, big kind of final arc. I like having a villain. I also like having a villain that isn't exactly a villain, which is, I don't want to give anything with Razor work, but who haven't read the books or even watching, he's our big bad villain. He's our Darth Vader. He's our Voldemort. And he doesn't turn out to be everything we think he is, which is what I like with characters. Yeah. So, we're coming up in a new big bad, but a whole different kind of big bad villain. So yeah. That's coming up.
Well, this brings me very neatly to the wrap up questions.
Yes, sir.
And I think you remember that I asked the same two as the wrap ups. The first one is what's next? What else are you working on? You just started to say you've got the next HILO arc.
Yes.
Is that another like 3 or 4 book story?
I think so. What we're doing is I'm dipping my toe into a bit of a plug. So this holiday season 2026, we got the HILO holiday special. Oh, nice. Or as we're calling it, the HILO Day special. Mm-hmm. It's a one shot. It's literally, when I was a kid growing up, I liked when a holiday special of a comic book character or a comic strip character show up on TV. So it's a little bit like that. The story falls between, it's a flashback. It falls between books 3 and 4. So for those who understand what I'm saying, so our character Izzy is in the story, and it's kind of an Izzy story. She's like right there in the mix of it. So it's a holiday book. So that's next, which opens up what I'm planning on doing, which is getting towards the end of the serialized stories, which could be 4 or 5 books. I'm not sure. And then more kind of one-shot books, like one-shot stories. We land in a place that we can do stories that kind of are standalones. Yeah. So more holiday books. We're going to do a Halloween story that's been rolling around in my head for years. Uh-huh. I love Halloween more than anything in the whole wide world, so I wanted to do that.
So you've got the holiday book completely finished then, I'm assuming, and then also book 12 is finished?
Book 12 is finished.
Wow. So you're 2 ahead at this point.
Yes.
Pretty good.
So I'm working on a whole new series.
Wow. Yeah. Then you're getting close to 3,000 pages on it. I'm just saying.
No other usable skills. Yes, this is all I can do. And knock wood.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't need a side hustle.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I feel most fortunate about. I get to just do this and not worry, but just,
And do you have more HILO Presents books in the process?
That's what I'm working on right now.
Okay.
I'm in the challenging part of just working out the story. And again, that'll be one that like they're inside the HILO universe and just like looking to expand it a little bit more.
Neat.
It's one of these things where when we finish the serialized story of HILO, that we do a mighty story, but it's a mighty story and HILO's there and they're teaming up in her book.
Yeah.
That's,
our
own little universe.
Yeah.
Superheroes.
Yeah, no, you're gonna end up with your 20 books at the end. You will, and you'll have your 30-year-olds coming up to you going, "I remember when I was a kid and I read this."
Like I say, have some toddler there, like now he's reading HILO for older than old.
Yep. Funny, I love that. Great. Well, I'm sure we're all excited to get more from JUDD and from the HILO universe. Okay, and so then the last question is this.
Yes, sir.
This is a series. We do a lot of interviews of a lot of creators. We've done 250 some odd, something like that. And because it's a series, we have a lot of people who watch them who want to be cartoonists. They want to make a lot of the people in this audience probably want to do cartoons and do things like that. But what I hear from a lot of times is, I don't know if I'm good enough. I'm not sure if my ideas are right. That basic imposter syndrome that every creative person always have. Mm-hmm. What is your piece of advice to someone who wants to make comics, but is unsure of their ability to do so?
Oh, it's, I'm hoping I'm not going to give just a standard boring answer. So there's the obvious things. Like, one, you got to keep at it, got to keep doing it. If you love doing it, just do it. Be mindful of the backspace button. When I was a kid, before I was working on a computer, you would draw on a piece of paper, and that's why pencils have erasers. If you make a mistake, you got to erase it. That's a little more laborious, opposed to being a kid working on a tablet and putting a line and then hitting that backspace button. And again. Keep drawing. Just keep drawing. Just even if it's not good, you only get better by keep doing it. It might not be good, so keep doing it. And don't do the backspace button. I'd actually advise you to work on paper for a while. because paper's better than the computers. I know I work on a computer, but I'm old and I've been doing it a while. And secondly, if you're making up a story, you'll always get that big idea that excites you, the one that gives you, like we say, like the fire in the belly, and you want to tell the story, and you get so excited, and you start making your story, and then you kind of run out of steam, and you kind of stop. So I'd advise you to think of an ending. Know how your little story is going to end, even if it's going to be a cliffhanger at first. Know where you're going, because it's making up stories is kind of like going for a walk. If you leave your house and go for a walk and you have no idea where you're going, you're going to turn around and go home. Don't go home. Find someplace you're going to go so your story will end. Finishing the story is the hard part. Don't make a 200-page story. Make a small story, and then you finish it, and then go back and fix it. Don't get precious about it. Go back and try to make it better, work on the middle, redraw some things, but you got to finish it. Once you have a finished thing in your hands, you're going to feel so good. So good. So think of your big idea and think of your ending, and then just get to it and get to the ending. It's so important. I can do an hour of more advice, but those are my big ones.
Yeah. No, that works. Judd, I want to thank you for taking this time and talking with us and answer the kids' questions. And yeah, this has been great as always.
Brian, it's a blast.
Oh man, you're my pal. Yeah. Let me just do a couple of minutes of housekeeping. I'll make this fast. What? Oh, I'm at that camera. Okay. That camera. Hi, camera. How you doing? So thanks for watching, and thanks for Judd for being here. If you are sitting at home, watching this later, you're looking for a book to read, you don't know what to read, I really recommend HILO in general, but HILO Presents the Mighty. Ton of fun, ton of heart, ton of action, ton of adventure, spectacular cartooning, because he's a great cartoonist. Come on, man. That Bigfoot stuff, it's great. It's beautiful. It's what we need more of. And there's big feet. There's big feet in this comic. So, So get a copy. There'll be a thing on the bottom of the screen that you can buy it from us if you wanted to. And, I'm sure we can get Judd to do little sketches and things like that. But if you can't buy the book or don't want to buy the book or whatever, go to the library. Librarians are your friends. They are the greatest things in the world. Get this book, read it. You will be really happy. It's going to make your day. You're going to be excited. I have some thank yous I want to make. I want to thank Ben for running the show. My wonderful son who does all the stuff that you don't see backstage, but we couldn't do it without him. I want to thank my great staff. I want to thank Katie and Jordan and Kipling and Charlie and Oline. They allow me to be able to sit and do things like talk to cartoonists, because they do some of the hard work of running the store, and I could not do it without them. And I've got the greatest team, and yeah, so thank you all. Thank you guys back there. Thank you. I want to thank everybody who's a member of the club. Every month you'll get a brand new book. Every month you'll get a sticker or a button or something like that comes with it as well. If you're in the kids club, if you're the adult club, you get a signed book plate from the artists. We think it's really good. We get 12 great books a year, which is, and then we don't charge you any more than you would cost just to walk in the door. And you're going to find stuff that you wouldn't have picked up on your own. That to me is the most important thing.
Awesome. The clubs are awesome.
See, Judd's been a member for 10 years of both clubs. So,
Great choices. And also, you occasionally get ones like, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. So,
that's
shockingly, but Brian has very good taste.
I've been doing this a little while. So thank you. Become a member if you can. If not, like and subscribe. You guys know how the internet works. Go ahead and do it. The next book, next month's, the next interview that we're doing is for Fustuk here. I might be pronouncing that slightly wrong. By Robert Appelian, I think is how you pronounce his name. I'm going to find that out next week when I talk to him exactly how you pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try that middle name.
There's not nearly enough vowels in it.
Right? Yes, I know. But this is our adult club for next month. And I'll be talking to him next week. next month's Kids Club is a book called The Extraordinary Journey, which is beautiful. It's two European, it's an Italian and a French guy who did it, and they were not comfortable doing an interview because they thought that their English wasn't going to be good enough. And I was like, you're like, everybody speaks English in Europe.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're more than fine.
You're more than fine, but they're like, oh, we don't want to do it. So no interview next month, but
Okay.
But the month after that, we've got a book called The Froggy Librarian, it's by Julie Fiveash, who used to work at the store. And it's the first of my staff who has gone on to have their own book. And so Julie's going to be here again in person because, that's how we're going to do this.
Oh, you're a proud papa.
Yeah. Oh, I am a proud papa. No, the best part is I don't want to give away anything about the comic. It's about a librarian, but the librarian spends a little time in a comic book store and drew me in as one of the characters. So yeah, I'm really excited by this one. So that's coming up next. And then the last thing to thank is, I thank all of you. I thank all of you and I thank my staff, but I have to thank Judd and all of the cartoonists like him, because if it wasn't for you, I would not be sitting in a store full of dreams and wonder and magic. I would be sitting in a store full of blank pages. Now, we need journals. Those are things that are useful.
True. That's how it starts. Yes.
Right. But I much prefer living in this colorful world of dreams and imagination. And I literally couldn't do it without you, my friend. It's the thing that gets me up every morning is that I get to sell books by you and your peers. And there's nothing more exciting to me. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much, my friend.
Shaw.
Yeah.
No, this store has been here a while. It has been a mainstay. Mountains have risen and fallen in the time that it has been here, and you have been a supporter of this work and these stories for a very, very, very long time. And so thank you, sir. Yeah. We appreciate it. And these guys appreciate it too.
No. I insist. Thank you.
Do 10 minutes of thanking each other.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So that's it. I'm wrapping it up. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. Have a great day. Thank you for watching this episode of the Graphic Novel of the Month Club. Subscribe and hit that bell up in the top corner. If you enjoyed the books that we're talking about and the creators that we're talking to, every month we pick a brand new book. The staff votes on it. It's a program that helps keep our store alive, and we'd love to have you as a member. You'll get a new book every month. Just follow that URL at the bottom of the screen.